Hello, hello, hello. We have people joining in right now. Oh, yes, welcome back, Substack. We have changed the tech. We have changed the tech to make sure that it's easy for our people on Substack. Look at this, it's working so well. All right, hello, everyone. Welcome to our PR breakdown for the week. Shelly, happy Friday to you as well, and to everyone else. I want to first off thank all the members of our PR breakdown community who joined me and Dr. Abby Medcalf for our live breakdown. Carolyn Bessette Kennedy, John F. Kennedy Jr. We discussed the American love story and the reputation angles there. Tart, safe travels where you're going. And we talked about Daryl Hannah as well. And what was so interesting about that conversation is Dr. Abby shared some very enlightening angles from a therapy point of view and psychology point of view in terms of behaviors and everything. So we were kind of breaking down the JFK patterns with who Carolyn Bessette Kennedy was and certainly Daryl Hannah. And then the piece that I was showing was that Daryl Hannah, who came out with hello, Christine, good to see you. Daryl Hannah last week comes out with a guest essay in the New York Times. As soon as I saw it pop up on the New York Times, I thought, now that's interesting. Not that many people have heard from Daryl Hannah in a long time. I mean, she's now, I don't want to call her a groupie, but her and Neil Young are out and about doing their thing. She's not quite 90s splash Steel Magnolias Daryl Hannah, anymore. However, the Ryan Murphy show just thrust her back into the headlines. And part of the reason was, hello, Manny. I was just recapping what we were talking about on our Wednesday chat. But I love talking about trending headlines and stories and what everybody else is talking about. I'm no different than anyone else. We all love the trending stories and what goes on in our chats. But I found it fascinating that she chimed in and she chose the New York Times. So I had to find out if it worked. And I used Muckrack, who is my media platform partner. And I looked at the numbers. So the takeaway from the Daryl Hannah piece, where Ryan Murphy had scenes where the Daryl Hannah character is in JFK Jr.'s loft. She's kind of quasi living there, and there's a party there, but there's drug use, and there's people clearly snorting cocaine. We don't see the Daryl Hannah character, who, by the way, thank you, Cynthia, that it was entertaining, who, by the way, is one of many Nepo babies on the cast, because the person who played Carolyn Bessette Kennedy, that's Jack Lemmon's granddaughter. The person who played Daryl Hannah, I think her first name is Dree. She's the daughter of Ernest Hemingway. And there's more. They're all Nepo. Meryl Streep's daughter is Carolyn Kennedy. So it's everywhere. But at any rate, Daryl Hannah took exception to that. So she writes, or her team posts a very well-written guest essay. And I just wanted to know if it worked or not, that she felt that she had to reset her reputation. And the numbers showed it did. It did. It actually off the charts, positive sentiment. So this week, I have questions for you. We also want to talk about what's going on in the news. Is anyone like me? I want to know, what do you do when you first wake up? Are you someone like me who looks at your app? Manny, do you think it was strategic casting because they naturally know to navigate that world? I don't know, Manny. Maybe Ryan Murphy wants something with, I don't know. I don't know. Like, if you think of Mariel Hemingway, we haven't seen her in a long time, but who knows? Or maybe that was casting Nepo babies. Maybe that was kind of a meta part of the show. I don't know. Amy says coffee. Okay. Even earlier than that, what I want to know, Amy, is when do you guys take in the news, or do you take in the news at all? And if you do, does it change your mood? Because it does for me. When I wake up in the morning, I reach over, turn off my alarm, or usually wake up 3 minutes before, and I listen to NPR, and I get the quick NPR breakdown podcast. Not the breakdown, that's my podcast. Limiting news to essentials. Yeah. I just get the headlines from NPR. And then I open up usually the New York Times app, and I am telling you, I don't remember the last time I opened up or listened to a news app and it didn't stress me out. And I honestly think, what now? What now? I don't know. Yeah, and you read it while drinking coffee. And I'm the same way, Amy. I wake up, make my coffee, eat my toast, and read the news. And then I do my spelling bee on New York Times. I always have to start that and get the pangram. But this is what I want to talk about today. So the headline's there. I have questions for you as well. But I want to introduce something to you. And so many of you who have been in this community for a while, and I see a lot of you come to our lives, and I really, really appreciate it. I'm driven so much by community, and I love this community because everyone is so smart. And what I like to call you guys sometimes snarky smart. And what's funny, here's a funny aside. So every week I usually post on Substack and an email comes out, but I have an old email list that I've had forever. And I'll still put things on there. Usually it's like the same things. But 2 weeks ago, I sent it out and someone replied back to my email. And it was a woman who was forwarding the email to a friend of hers. And I don't know if she attached her friend's name or not on it, or if she accidentally just hit reply to me, but it said to her friend, "This is the woman who I was telling you about." And as soon as I saw that, I went, "Oh, it's like a happy mistake. This is cool." And then she said, "I love her take, her breakdowns," or something like that. And then the third line was, "Sometimes she's a little too snarky, but da, 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 da." I don't remember what it said after that because I stopped after that and I thought, am I too snarky? But then again, I think snark's not bad. Snark's what drives a lot of things. And maybe she meant it. Well, no, when she said too snarky, I don't think that was positive, but I still appreciated it anyway. You know what I mean? Because she was saying, I still listen to you, even though I don't love some of the things you said. I'm all about it. All right, more chatter on Andrew Fergie and the daughters. They are still popping up in the news right now, aren't they? People are tracking that. A perfect dusting of Snark Tart. Well said. I love that. But what I wanted to share with you all is with Substack, I am someone, which I've learned for very good and for very bad. I'm a bit of a pleaser. I always want to give and make sure people have things. That can be a very dangerous thing. But as someone who's worked on boundaries, and I have them, I do find when it comes to material and what I put out, it's just a lot, right? And because I want to teach and I love to bring people together, but I also need to be an effective business person because I'm doing so many things at once. Okay. Because I go on the road speaking, I have clients, I have, I'm writing plans. We have Substack, we have our lives, we have our members, we have all those other things, and then, I have client work too. And then there's TikTok and all of it. So there's a lot going on at once. And I'm also exploring writing a book, which I really want to do. And I found an amazing literary agent found me. And I've had a lot of literary agents reach out over time. And this person I love because we're just in sync. And my favorite thing that she said, and I will say this, I want you guys to picture right now, March 18th, next Wednesday, we're doing a deep dive into influencers. I'll go to the end of my notes right now because I had it on here. We are going to break down all of the influencers out there, and we're going to do it in our chat. And I'm going to tell you all of the reputational flags that I see happening there, right? So that's going to be on March 18th. And we're going to bring them all. Mel Robbins, Shetty. I don't know if she's on here, but someone had asked, one of our community members, have you seen I'm Not Your Guru, Tony Robbins on Netflix? And as soon as she said that, I remember watching it. And then I turned it back on this week. I'm like, oh God, I thought, I wish I could watch this with everyone at once. It's just cringe, and for all the reasons. And that's what I want to share in this live, because I want, many of you kind of know my feelings on certain influencers out there. I don't have a problem with influencers in general. Be an influencer. I mean, technically I'm an influencer, but in people who influence when the profit line is so clearly drawn, there's no opaqueness to it whatsoever. We have to break that down. Like we have to talk about what they're doing and how they're doing it. We have to. So I am not superhuman. And that's my whole point, is I'm kind of hitting my breaking point. And poor Greg, at one point this week, he said, "How are you?" But the point is what we're doing right now is I finally said, I've got to combine everything. Like I can't keep doing everything for everyone. And a lot of things have been swirling around, and I need to write this book, and I really want to work with this literary agent. And so she said, what is this book about? And this is what I love that she said. We were talking about different book genres. And she said, "Do you like Mel Robbins?" Like out of the blue, because we were just kind of setting the tone to see where we all fit with everything. And my reply was, "Do you like Mel Robbins?" And she said, "No." And I said, "Nor do I." And then I said, "Let me tell you why." And I was explaining it. And I wasn't explaining it from, Manny said, "I can't stand all the toxic positivity they sell." Keyword, Manny, is the sell. And we're going to get into the real particular details of the problem that I have. And it's not just snark, because everything I do is always based on a doctrine. And I have a doctrine. And last week I was on the road for a week straight, 7 days. I was even there over the weekend. And it was so clear it was like a consulting session throughout a state, with all these people, and very specific in my lane. But I have a doctrine. Hello, Louise. I have a doctrine. And the doctrine is made up of all my different kind of pillars. And Greg said, it's like the Monroe Doctrine. And I said, yes. I was like, this week, I was like Alexander Hamilton. Like I could not stop writing. So now I've created, this doctrine that's already there, and I need to really formalize it, because I'm just kind of pulling all this stuff out of my head. And any of you are Gen Xers or above, good morning, Carol. Our brains are not like they used to be. I find that my brain gets a lot more fatigued earlier because I'm doing so much. So I've decided, to finally combine everything and put it down. And I have a system, I have a database. I mean, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. But I have this whole doctrine that's ready to roll out. The doctrine is going to be the book. And the doctrine is going to be filled with all these examples that we all talk about and that you all share with me as well, which is so interesting. I would be so interested to consider a book that also talks about influencing as a uniquely American concept. Ronald Reagan. Thank you for saying that. I love how you're thinking about it. And that's why I like having you guys here to think with me, because I look at people, celebrities, politics, stories, trending stories based on the behaviors and the patterns. Like stories aren't political to me first. They're behavioral. Case in point, Christy friggin' Nome. When I see Christy Nome, I don't see politics first. I don't dislike Christy Nome intensely because she's Republican. I don't look at the political side of it. I look at it as, I don't like her as a person. I don't like her value system. I don't like people who cheat to get ahead, who cut corners, who kill their dogs. I don't like that, and have books and then lie about it. And then so openly carry on the relationship with someone who is so, Corey Lewandowski, whose wife, 9/11 spouse, survivor, husband died in 9/11. And so all they can picture and that allege, whatever, that Corey Lewandowski marries this woman with all this money. They have these kids, but now he's out bopping around on Coast Guard planes and doing all this stuff. So I'm looking at the behaviors. And that's what drives me. And I think what comes in this community is you guys are driven by that as well. Did she kill her dog? Oh, yes, in South Dakota, because the dog wasn't behaving. So she tells a story how she killed Cricket. So that's why Cricket became a part of the testimony. It's such a vague advice with Mel. I think that followers just protect what they want to hear. That is so important, because we can tie in like a Mel Robbins to a Christy Nome. Like Mel Robbins in and of herself is not inherently bad, but it's what she's packaging and how it's delivered, with the lack of training or knowledge for what she's delivering to make a profit. That's what I hone in on. That's what I hone in on. So all this start coming together. So I have a question for you first. I want you guys to tell me this. Think about the last time, and it could be 15 minutes ago, a public figure or a company lost your trust. Was it because of one big event or a series of smaller things that happened over time? Tell me, give me an example of someone. Yeah, she absolutely did kill her dog. Yeah, shot the dog on the ranch. Can you think of someone, public figure, anyone, they lost your trust, like you personally, not headlines, and we're all supposed to hate, not political, not ideological as much, like we just don't like someone because they're a certain party. But give me a person. Manny says Target. Manny, can you tell me why? I mean, I can assume. I can make a jump to a conclusion. Anyone else? Target. We have two Targets. And the Target CEO coming out with a statement about Minneapolis. So weak. Target had such a chance, headquartered in Minnesota, had such a chance to do the right thing and didn't. Weakened. Also, Mel Robbins has taken other people's ideas and made money off of it. Well, not only the Cassie Phillips, oh, God bless my brain. I forgot it, which is wonderful. She stole the let them theory. She did. And it's proof. And she told on herself, because there's social media saying the first time she spotted it. And then she repackaged it as a story that her daughter said to her in regards to her son Oakley's prom, and then tried to profit off of it and trademark it. Okay, Bill Clinton, great answer. When he lied under oath. Before DEI, they hid all the LGBT products. Yep, Manny, I did comment. I did content around that. Oh, Jared blames me for Ryan Reynolds. I'm sorry. But are you blaming me, or are you thanking me for the illumination? We talked about Ryan Reynolds in the live. Dr. Abby. Oh, Dr. Abby's so great. Wow. Did she have Ryan Reynolds' number this week with their publicity push, or last week? Okay. So there's so much that struck a nerve about Target, and pulling all the products produced by people of color post DEI. Yeah, it's their LGBTQ, people of color, absolutely not standing behind it. And then in Minneapolis, where what I am calling the sea change that happened, I think, of what's going on right now is Minneapolis. It's Minneapolis. And if you're a Target CEO and you recognize that, you could optimize that. Amy, I'm going to ask you for a follow-up. Hey, Angie, I referred to you earlier. Amy brought up Oprah. Who can tell me this week why Oprah got caught in the fray this week? Did anyone see it? I have new thoughts on Oprah. I have two thoughts on Oprah. I got to put people's opinion down here. They were ringing, Angie. Yeah, because I was talking about you. Did anyone see? I didn't see it on social. I saw it on Reddit. Well, technically that's social. I only saw it on Reddit. And I got to tell you guys, I go to Reddit every day. Reddit, I think that's becoming like my go-to. I love Reddit. I go to Reddit Spelling Bee, New York Times, and I go to such a nerd. Anyone else see Oprah? Lady spine doc lost me when I realized a neurosurgeon was making more influencing than practicing. I gotta write that down. I don't know who that is. Okay, so we have Ozempic Oprah. That's one thing. Oh, thank you for reminding me. I gave up on Oprah long ago. Oprah is a boomer and doesn't understand anymore. Mark, Gwen, and Chris with the prayer app. Oh, yes. Oh, one of my best friends growing up is very good friends with Father Michael Schmitz, who's from Minnesota and who's the most handsome priest on the planet. Lizzo, thank you for saying Lizzo. And I never had the chance to do content about Lizzo, but Lizzo's on Substack. Did you guys know that she's on Substack? I actually had to go into a Target recently, and don't judge me. I didn't buy anything, but it looks different. It looks like a discount store now. Reminds me of what Kmart became. Ouch, Manny. So, but I hear you. So more money on influencing. That's a good teaser for your upcoming live. It is. So Angie, we're talking about the live. But Oprah posted, was coming from my memory. It's a black and white photo. Oprah and Gail were at the Chanel something in Paris. And it was black and white, and she looked beautiful. And everyone said, not the time, Oprah, not the time. And not only, we're going to war. We're with Iran right now. We're going to war. We're in war, caused it, bombing schools and killing Iranian girls. Okay, let's get into that messaging in a moment. And then post that. So there's a lot of backlash on her. Ooh, you're in Minneapolis, Alice. And we will never forgive them, especially since they let ICE use their stores as home base. See, I'm with you. I've not been home since that happened, but I was talking to my brother. It was his birthday this week. And he's a bit of a disaster tourist, and he admits it. But we were talking about Minneapolis, and I tell you, what is happening in Minneapolis? I have chills right now because I'm just so proud of, because growing up, everybody thinks we're you betcha flyover. I say the change happened in Minneapolis. That's the mark. If we want to set a benchmark when the change happened, it's that. So all of the airlines who have chosen to change their consumer tablet seat apps to the Gulf of America. Oh, that's a good one. But this is how I want to tell you. I want to share this with you to bring it all together, because I'm starting to wrap in this crisis doctrine. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to be very intentional on the content, because I'm building my book, because I speak, and every time I speak without a book, it's hard. But I also want to put the stuff that rattles and everything you and I all talk about, I want to put it somewhere, because as soon as I write the book, it will also probably already be dated. When people tell me that I was on a client call and they said, oh, I read your book and blah, blah. I'm like, oh my God, my book, that is so dated now. Like half the stuff I don't even stand by anymore because we've changed so much. But I want to bring this doctrine into the work here on Substack and into my content. It's going to come into Substack. It's going to come into social media. It's going to come into my work. And I want to share it with you. So what that looks like is I'm a person, I'm not an academic crisis, whatever. I mean, I can roll with the best of them on it, but that's not what drives me. I am interested in the human behavior. I am interested in what causes the crisis. I am always more intrigued by the before. That's where I am, is the before. Where most crisis people are in the after. They give you the plans. They tell you what to do. I certainly tell people what to do. I mean, I have to. I can't be one half of it. I can't just tell you, warning, you're having a crisis, and not tell you what to do about it. But I'm intrigued by how we got there. And I'm intrigued by the human behavior. And how I could spot the human behavior a mile away are the patterns that evolve. So finally, after realizing that there's so many patterns, like, I got to write these patterns down. So the doctrines, I'm going to tell you what they are. Oh, does that annoy people? Post-COVID, every time I do it, I feel bad. Angie, I want to be on the team that gets to read it first. You just brought that idea. We are going to have an early read club. You are going to get an advanced copy. We will do that. We will run the advanced copy group. Thank you for mentioning that. So here's the doctrine, you guys. Ready? Another Minneapolis resident. I was so happy that I got booked, or I'm going to get booked in Wisconsin in the fall. And I said, oh, good. I'm going back home. All right. Plus I have to have my girls' trip back home. So here's my doctrine, you guys. This is everything in this area is going to fall under this. If you work in strategy, strategic comms, leadership. If you're involved in any of the decision making, or you're seeing what's going on, or you're a self-practitioner, you do your own thing, you run your own business, whatever, all of this applies universally. And so I know it from a professional point of view, it applies to you. I mean, that's tested and true. But it also, when you get into human behavior, you cannot analyze human behavior and recognize patterns without recognizing that whatever happens in a crisis happens in life. They're the same person. Donald Trump isn't one guy in the White House and a different guy on the outside. He's the same guy. And that's what we're learning, right? Advanced side copy there. Yes, we're going to have our community. Excuse me. No doubt about that, because you guys are going to help build it too. So here's the doctrine, everyone. This is what it's going to come to. So number one, chapter 1. It's about trust being the benchmark of reputation. Whenever I give talks and talk about it, there's all these academic definitions of crisis. And I remember once giving my definition, and one guy said, I heard the definition was blah, blah, blah. And I thought, don't be that guy. And I think it was actually from that moment, I thought, I'm not going to give other people's definitions of a crisis anymore. I got my own definition. It's just from experience. And everybody has all these sentences, but mine is very non-academic. But the crisis begins the moment a stakeholder loses trust. But in many cases, you don't know that happened. I'm the person who can spot a crisis before it happens. And you all will be too when you're along for the ride. So the second doctrine, a crisis begins before the headlines. That's where I love. My Mel Robbins content falls under that doctrine, everyone. Third, and this is big in my client space, it's why people organize. I usually get hired because people have organized against someone. And organize is a nice way of saying canceled. I have an off-topic question. A lot of crises, at least personal, a lot of crisis is a reaction to sudden fame. Oh, I want to hear more about that. Like what you mean. I wonder if there's a way for people to prepare for imminent fame, notoriety to avoid mistakes. Oh, you mean like people going viral, or all of a sudden an influencer going viral? Yeah, part of it. You're definitely not prepared for it. And in many cases, oh my God, there was a time, remember when apology videos were big? I worked with so many influencers, because all the agents would call me and I'd work with influencers because they did something at 14 or said something, or a tweet came up, and then they shoot up to fame, and then they spiral out. And so Chapel Rowan, that's a great example, Amy. Our brains must be the same. That's a great example how she shot so quickly. But if you shoot to the top, the reason why people falter up there is because someone record this so I can put this in the book. Is because I lost my train of thought. Oh, it's because they don't fully understand what their value systems are, who they are as a brand, what they defend, who they're for. Because when things go wobbly and you get called out for stuff, if you are operating behind a value system, you won't get canceled. That's what I tell my clients. That's really essentially what we do. That's why my book is called Indestructible. And my framework is the Indestructible PR framework. You follow it, you're indestructible. You cannot be brought down. You still have trolls who might get bad press. You can still go through the crisis, but you're not going to be destroyed by the crisis. But in order to be able to do that, is you have to have a value system. And what we learn in the cancel culture realm, it's the people without one are the ones that peter out. So that when people organize or cancel, it's usually because they spot that. It's someone has done something and they refuse to acknowledge it or admit it, right? Never record an apology video. See, Angie knows. Now, there was a time it made sense. That time's not now. Right? The pandemic era, Manny. That was when we all had those awful apology videos. And people Mila and Ashton, stop. I'm building up my database right now. Thank you so much for that. I remember I was going to my daughter Rory's soccer game. She was playing in New Jersey. This is when she was in college. And I had to be in New York City the next day. It was 9/11. Oh, I had to be at ABC News. And when I was at the soccer game is when Ashton and Mila broke. Remember their first post? And I think I got alerted because I think it was Rosie O'Donnell maybe tagged me or something. And I thought, why is Rosie O'Donnell tagging me? And I was at the soccer game. I'm like, what's going on? And then I saw the Ashton Mila. So I have a post way back in my social media of me walking from the soccer game and talking about, because I looked at it, which is so dangerous just to look at something super quickly and then comment on it. And I think that video got like millions, I don't know, millions, but it got a lot. Then I go to the hotel in New York City to prepare for my ABC News interview, which was about Lizzo? I can't remember. It was for Hulu documentary for Nightline Hulu Impact. And then I get a text from Access Hollywood, the producer who I love. And she said, you're in Manhattan right now. I know where you are. Can you go? Can you be on Access Hollywood? And I went, sure. And then and I've told this story before. So then I did Access Hollywood. They brought a car. I said, I must have a car. Brought there. And I went up and where I was recording Access Hollywood, I had to walk by Jimmy Fallon. And I had just recorded a post about Jimmy Fallon because that was the Drew Barrymore, Jimmy Fallon era. And I thought, oh, I just posted about him. And now I'm like literally standing outside his office. But anyway, okay. So then number 4, which I think we could put Ashton and Mila on this, or we could put a lot of people, the empathy gap. Okay. So this is a big thing. Weinstein's bonkers interview. I saw that this morning. I did not read it, but I tagged to read because I thought, oh, I got one line in. I got to write that as a reminder. I did see that because I thought, oh, this is going into the database right there. But the empathy gap is a great example, like the White House. Kristi Noem calling Alex Peretti a domestic terrorist when he was shot in the back. Does PR count if you're in prison? Yeah, it's probably something different when you're there. Amy, are we a little disappointed in Hillary for sitting next to Bill while he lied? But think about it. That's when I talk about the personal. That's the personal, right? I mean, Bill and Hillary. Oh, by the way, anyone in the Boston market, I have to say this. Anyone in the Boston market, Chronicle, it's on ABC, WCVB. I'm going to be a part of one of their, they're doing a segment on shame. I hope it's not a big setup where they're going to shame me, but they interviewed me for it. And they wanted photos from my FEMA days. And I was like, ugh. I said, one of my big regrets was before social media. It never occurred to me to take photos. So the photos I have are bad. But if you're in the Boston market, you can watch that show. But anyway, we were just kind of mentioning different people. And, oh no, I completely take that back. Well, that was all about shame. Oh, I was talking to the BBC this week. That's right. About co-hosting a podcast briefly. We were talking about Monica Lewinsky. And isn't it interesting about the Bill and Hillary time that, as a complete aside, I knew Bill and Hillary's aide, like military aide. It's the person who carries the football. Oh, I can't say that he said things. Never mind. Forget I even said that. But there was a lot of fighting during that era. And Hillary, we think, clearly knew stuff that was going on. So it was so personal that came out. The stuff that we saw, right? But think about it. This was a time before social media. No one thought things would bleed out. Things were only in the press. So what changed, you guys? Hillary and Bill's back forever. Hillary's had Bill's back forever and won't stop now, right? Ashton is back with his new series. What? Ashton has a new series? I'm going to the notes. Ashton has a new series. Is he acting in the series? I hate platforming Ashton as much as Billionaire Tech Guy. It's too much. Ryan Murphy is dark-sided. I don't really watch them. Was the Swans Ryan Murphy? I think it was, wasn't it? I find the Clinton marriage confusing. I do and I don't. Sometimes in a certain area, you just kind of stick through it. But Bill is a caricature, right? But what changed about Bill and Hillary back then, you could keep things close because it was just the press, right? But then with Bill and Hillary, it was the internet. Michael Isaacoff releasing Monica's. Ooh, Now you can tell how my brain works. The dress. The internet caught up with Bill Clinton. So he's like, really, if you think about it, he's our first casualty of cancel culture. If you really think about a big name, it's Bill Clinton. Because he never expected Monica to keep the dress. And he never expected a headline to come out ahead of the press. Please tell me you've seen all the clip where Bill knocks into Hillary in the crosswalk. Oh, yes. And she reminds him of a mom whose kid hit her. Yes, Angie. That dynamic is classic. Don't you think that's their marriage in a nutshell? He's acting with Nicole Peltz and Beckham's wife and Isabella Rossellini. He's the main character and people love it. And him, you guys, we got to look into this. Ashton's new show is awful. Oh, so you watched it. Ryan Murphy has no integrity. Ryan Murphy is making a profit off of things that he's smart enough to know that people would find interesting. And tried watching Love Story, and he did Daryl Hannah dirty. He did. But you know what, though? In the end, it was a boon of Daryl Hannah. She won. Was Monica canceled? She wasn't. Monica was canceled for decades. Actually, she wasn't canceled by the public. It's the press. The press canceled her. The Democrats, like people, they had to disparage her. But she came back because Monica Lewinsky is indestructible. Okay, getting back to my list. The next one, this is where Mel Robbins. Oh, and my our talk about the mega influencers, the Jay Shetty, who married Jennifer Lopez. Oh, and Dr. Abby, what she said about Jennifer Lopez. All the people. It's going to be the suspicion cycle. And it's when people get suspicious. Monica was the first victim of the cancel culture. Well, the reason why I'm like rant on that is because cancel culture to me is when public sentiment, the public rises up against you. I think it was the system that went after Monica Lewinsky. It wasn't the public. Like, I think genuinely, a lot of people in the public were absolutely hounding her. There's no doubt about it. But I remember the New York Post calling her the pepper pot. And all the cartoons about her, she was like this overweight girl. And, so she got that kind of Carolyn Bessette Kennedy, Princess Diana kind of era, that tabloid crap. So Monica does have a great podcast. She really does. So I don't know. I'm halfsies. I don't disagree with you, but I think a lot of people had a lot of empathy for her too. I think a lot of people wanted to bring her back. Rosanna Arquette slammed Harvey Weinstein for his comments, the rape. Oh, did he say that in the interview? Are you saying that was his quote in the interview? Yeah. Okay. So the suspicion cycle is another doctrine. When people do certain things, you go, like for me, self-help influencer industry. In my tagging system, I have a tag for suspicious. That's suspicious. Who has that tag in my database? Mel Robbins, Tony Robbins, Jay Shetty, Peter Attia. And is he Attia or Adia? Who else is in my list? Deepak. Anyone where you go, So the suspicion cycle. Number 6 is the algorithm effect and what the algorithm does to you. So many of my clients, I tell them, because they'll have Facebook groups against them. And that's usually like I know nobody's ever on it, but if you're in a community, communities can rise up against a school board, or communities can rise up against anything that's local. And a Facebook group becomes incredibly powerful. So what I say, it's not, so my client or people are trying to communicate on their Facebook pages, like blah, blah, blah. Like, these are all the things we do. But this Facebook group is a behemoth because the algorithm, Mark Zuckerberg's favoring these people because they're pissed off. And so it's not you versus them. It's you versus the algorithm. And you're going to lose every time. Tyra Banks. Adding to the list. Thank you. Anyone that Oprah platform is on the list. Yes, Susan. And that came up earlier, didn't it? We were talking about Oprah. Oh, gosh. I'm going to make let me go back to Oprah. Let me a little tree with her. Dr. Oz, Dr. Phil, Did she have anyone else who was problematic? The wellness influencer thing is so toxic and becomes harmful. It really has, because they're all doing it. Oh, well, join me on Wednesday. I want you guys to be in on this too. And also on Wednesday, I'm giving you like this little cheat sheet of the doctrine. So what to look for. So in other words, it's like an assessment. If you follow someone, so I'll let you know. Well, not, can I tell you, Susie Orman? Can I make an admission here? I used to, when I was home alone with 4 kids, I had my husband at the time was in the military underway, and I was home by myself with a 2-year-old, 1-year-old, and infants. So to call me miserable. So that's why when you look like, Molly, how do you do it all? Because of that era of my life. But my kids are amazing. The ex, not so much. Anyway, but I used to watch Susie Orman on CNBC. I loved it. I look forward to Susie Orman because she came on right before Tim Russert. And I watched Tim Russert I can't remember if it was Friday or Saturday. I think it was Saturday. So I kind of like Susie Orman. She's a little dated now, but I really liked her. I think Monica herself has said she's the first victim of, well, yeah. Oh, thank you, Angie. God, I love you people in this community. You're right, Angie. Thank you for saying what I couldn't come up with. She was the victim of cyberbullying. You're right. She wasn't canceled. She was bullied. Thank you for saying that. The secret promotion. Oh, the secret. The secret is a part of that whole thing, right? Do you all remember the secret nonsense? It's funny. My sister used to swear by Susie Orman. Susie Orman, I thought, was great. And also, Susie Orman was her own platform before Oprah. Oprah just, thanks for the shout out, Chelsea. Oh, you're home with an 18-month-old. Girl, I've been there. And you're trying to work. You work while you're, and you're home. And you're, oh, gosh, that's hard. Jamie Kern Lima. Okay, Lauren, I hope you are coming to our influencer thing, because Jamie, she's not like mainstream, but she's a part of that. She's a part of that mastermind group. You know what I'm talking about. That whole group. All of it. Yes. Okay, moving on. Number 7. But you know what? I don't like having 8. I should really have 7. 7 seems sexier to me, but 8 is great. But the last piece of, okay, then there's the leadership realization moment. And this is when people know they're in the, they go, oh, shit. That's when they call me. Number 7 is, this is when we call Molly. And number 8 is rebuilding trust, which is essentially, how you do it. Yeah, Susie Orman was common sense. Absolutely. Angie, why don't we include Jane Fonda or Richard Simmons in the problematic wellness influencer? I love Jane. Well, yeah, you know what? But think about that. You know why? Here's the reason why, Angie. Here's the reason why I think it comes in. Because here's the reason why. One, I think people liked Richard Simmons because people had empathy for him. Because remember, he always told the story of him being an overweight kid and that his hair fell out. And because he was overweight and cared about women, his persona, we don't know where he fell, but he was very women-centric. And he cared so much, right? Like that's kind of what we saw about him. So, like people liked him, which is another way of saying people trusted him. Now, back then, if you think about it, like we all remember, health was problematic. Like what was he, a dial-a lunch? No, what was it? I know you guys would know this. Angie, you probably know it. Lunch a bunch? No, not lunch a bunch. What was he, dial-a lunch? Someone's going to know this. And Jane Fonda, I would say, was of her time, right? Like she was literally with the leg warmers. But we thought, the aerobic. Think back to all the aerobics then. And again, like Jane Fonda, who already had this enviable body and she wanted to help people. So I think women trusted her that they're going to get that body too, which is hard to do. Stay at home, left job, and can only do small project, but told my husband I'd do time at United States Postal Service. Oh my gosh. You're like me. You know what I was going to do during the pandemic when I lost everything, my business? I lost everything all at once. I was going to work at Starbucks. I wanted to work at Starbucks in the morning and get benefits and see people every day. No shame in hard work, in working labor. No shame. Well, I feel like Jane Fonda, Richard Simmons, and Susan Powell were not selling snake oil. They wanted people to move and do something for themselves with real results. That's true. Though Susan Powder, wasn't she a little, wasn't there something that came out on her? I can't remember. They weren't selling weird smoothies and exact deal a meal. Thank you. It took a while, but someone had it. Thanks, Carrie. I appreciate it. Also, Jane stopped after the video. She didn't get into wellness grift land, right? Because and really when it comes down to the grift, who did I call out here that said Jamie? Yes, Randy, I love what I do. You can see this is why I have the energy to write a book about it. Beckham's. Thank you. Beckham's. Thank you. Oprah helped Brene Brown. You have no thoughts on her? I kind of do too. What are your thoughts on Brene Brown? What are your thoughts? I need to know that. Susan Powder had a minor comeback. And there was a documentary. Maybe, is that what I saw on her? I think, yeah. But don't we all think like back then they were trying? I mean, now we've learned that a lot of things they practiced were tough, but they were trying. They weren't as grifty. And even like Richard Simmons with this deal a meal, it was simply a tool to help people. And it's actually no different than the Weight Watchers app. I mean, we didn't have apps back then. Kathy Griffin interviewed Susan on her Really? Is that maybe where I saw her? I met Kathy Griffin 2 years ago. Meredith Lynch brought me backstage. And Kathy just said, what should I have done? Because remember, Kathy Griffin got canceled. Oh, Kathy Griffin. I got to put her in here. She got canceled. And then she sat and wanted to know exactly what to do. So then I'm giving her free PR advice and Greg was there. And then all of a sudden Greg started talking and she was like fixated on Greg. Oh, Jillian Michaels. That's a good one. And you know what? She is on my treadmill. I've had a treadmill now for like 16 years. I'm on one of the 1% that actually use it. And I have a treadmill guy. And the reason why I can still run on it, I have so many miles on it. Is because I get a tune-up every year. And he's telling me, he's like, do not get a new treadmill because they're all so high tech and they're a nightmare, for using. He said, your treadmill is still manual and you can run how you want. But the only thing, or not only, there's things I don't like, but the thing I hate most about my treadmill is that the computer program in there is Jillian Michaels. So every single time I turn on my treadmill, I see her mug. Ugh, I can't. Stop the insanity. That is so funny. Jillian really was problematic. Oh, does anyone follow, speaking of Jillian and the whole weight loss thing, does anyone know about Chris Powell, Heidi Powell, which gets into Dave Hollis and Rachel Hollis? Rachel Hollis is tied into Jamie Lynn Kerr, who's also tied into Dave Hollis, is tied into Mel Robbins. Ugh, I could go on and on. But anyway, you guys, so this is now everything that I do now. Everything is going to be centered around this doctrine. All of our people who you gave me will be labeled in the doctrine, and we will know exactly what they are. Like my brain filing cabinet is going to go boom, 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 boom. And I'm building the list, how to help Hegseth. Well, first of all, he grew up in the same area where a good friend of mine grew up in Minnesota. I hate that he's from Minnesota. And isn't it interesting what happened in Minneapolis? He's from Forest Lake, which it's not even a Twin Cities. It's not even a Minneapolis suburb. It's technically a St. Paul suburb, but it's kind of greater. I'd put it just out of the ring. But everyone who knew him in Minnesota, like his dad taught high school, like right down the road from my Catholic grade school. His dad is like a decent person. Any single person who talks about Pete Hegseth says he's a douche. He's just a horrible person. But how crazy thinking, and you know what? I never thought about that. He was in his hometown. That's his hometown that's burning. And they're shooting He's the worst. So to your answer, one, I would never work with Pete Hegseth. And now Pete Hegseth is banned the photographers who took bad photos of him. We need to see a bad ending for Pete Hegseth. And so much flexing. But I would have sworn he was going to be the first one to go. But there he is. Treadmills are not needed. Just stop eating. As soon as I saw treadmills are not needed, I went, what? And then I went, oh no, I know where you're going. Just stop eating sugar and carbs. All of Jill and Client gained their weight back. Absolutely. And Jennifer, who absolutely, thank you for knowing about Heidi and Chris Powell. I just got to talk to Jennifer for 1 minute, who will understand this, or anyone else. So Chris Powell had like an extreme weight loss show. I think they were on ABC. And then after a few seasons, he brought in his wife. And Heidi tried to be Jillian Michaels, the Mormon version of Jillian Michaels. And it was awful. So the show ended up getting canceled. She's still online. She's connected to the Hollis universe because she was dating Dave Hollis after Dave Hollis. Oh my God. Rachel Hollis, the unrelatable toilet gate, she got canceled. They got divorced. His career went down. He dated Heidi Powell. Those two are crazy. But Heidi Powell and Chris Powell always talk about, they're just weight people. And they always talk about how running is bad for you and everything. Oh my God, they're a mess. Brene's books helped me a lot, but recently she's been called out. Oh, thank you for telling me. I didn't know why. For stealing work? What? I didn't know that about Brene Brown. She also defended Joe Rogan and used word salad to defend herself. Alice, thank you for telling me that. I didn't know that. Minneapolis does not claim Pete Hegseth. You are right. You are right about Katherine Heigl. Katherine Heigl. I only saw headlines. This is only on Reddit. I just saw. Did she go to a pet event in Mar-a-Lago? And then gave the and then her response was, it wasn't for people, it was for pets. Like pets aren't political, and just kind of not getting it. Manny, I know you followed, right? You must have picked up on that. You know the whole story there. Candace is probably the title belt holder of grifters at this point. She picked the perfect target and cashed in. Wow, she is cashing in. And Candace Owens is doing such a jiu-jitsu, if you think about it. She's calling out Erica Kirk for being a grifter from her YouTube channel, where she gets all her views and everything by calling Macron's wife, Brigitte, a man. I mean, the hypocrisy. The entire evangelical model for profit. Thank you. I love that. Look at, we all spun into this. I love that you guys are giving me all your answers. This is why I love this community. Joel Osteen, oh my God, Fitz. She said animals don't vote. Okay. Yes, she was at Mar-a-Lago with, the Caesar, was it, Cesar, the dog guy? Whatever his face. Yeah, we're the same. All this focus on fitness to avoid the elephant in the room, insulin resistance. If you've ever been more than 5 pounds overweight, you are resistant to insulin. And do you notice now with GPL-1s, this fitness industry, we're really starting to see them for grift, like who the real grifters are, because they're jumping on that bandwagon because their stuff doesn't sell as much anymore. Because now there's medications for people to manage weight. And they kind of see through the grift. I'm really glad that you brought that up, actually. Calls her out every day. Tell me who you're referring to. What did Angie say? That's funny. Sounds like Molly is playing 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. Oh, Angie, you know what? We have to do a 6 Degrees of Crisis separation. Oh my gosh. This is now going to be a project for our community. We're going to have to do this, you guys. We need to come up with the crisis game. I'm going to brainstorm on this. 6 Degrees. I have 8 doctrines, but I may have to change 8 doctrines because 7 is sexier, but that's deadly sins. I don't know. I got to work on this. I think we have to work on this, you guys. But there's something there we have to do, because my brain, how my brain works, I am a Kevin Bacon game person. That's how my brain works. And I can crush anyone in 6 degrees. The 6 degrees would be an epic series. I really think you guys are right. We bought a $900 smart GPS collar he was all about, and it never worked. Oh, you were influenced, Chelsea. Oh, by the way, you guys, I'm getting a dog in a month and a half. Was being paid to be the brand. So he walked away and came back with a new version that I also think doesn't work. Oh, but see, let's go back to Doctrine, Chelsea. We're going to go back to Doctrine 1. Why am I referring to my list? Trust is the benchmark. You lost trust. You lost trust in him. Oprah, David Geffen, Tyler Perry. You were desperate. See, now, Chelsea, I am too, because I'm thinking now all dogs are about smart products, right? I'm not in the influencer world, but seriously, just stop eating sugar and carbs. Don't use GPL-1s. They may be a quick fix, but not needed. But I will say this, though, as someone who knows people on it, it's not, I agree with you. We do not want GLP-1s as quick fixes. So I agree with that 100%. You don't want it as a quick fix. But if you have other conditions that can help you lose that weight, that forces you to become better about your health and eat better and all that other stuff, because there's something to be said about all the doctors who are on it. There's something to be said about it. And I think there's some benefits there. That's why I encourage people I know to go on it. I think 8 doctrines is very strong, an even number, like 8. Okay, thank you. Oh, D. Gomez musical moments. 8 pillars imply indestructible. I love how you think. And how the Kardashians are involved with TMZ and Britney's conservatorship. They are. So I'm doing a podcast interview with someone who wrote a book about the Kardashians. It's coming out in May. And I have to hop off. I have a call. I'm going to be a speaker at Ad Week, Social Media Week in New York City. If anyone's plans to go or wants to go, we could meet. It's like the week, April 15th, I speak. But a book is coming out about the Kardashians. And so they reached out to me. I'm like, I'm interviewing you. So Substack, I'm interviewing this person. Okay. Louise, GLP-1s aren't bad. It's the grifting around them that's bad. I agree. And a lot of these health and fitness, Chris Powell, they're all getting into GLP-1s. And that's why I wouldn't trust that. They do work and are good for certain people. Was just talking with a doctor friend about last week. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Megan. Marcus Anderson. Do I know who is Marcus Anderson? Ryan Lochte, is he a grifter now? I know he's down and out. If the book is coming out, does that mean the Kardashians read it beforehand? It's not a Kardashian book. It's someone writing about the Kardashians, and it's HarperCollins, and it's K. It's like a C word, but a K. And Kim, huge benefits, lost 90 pounds and living my best life. Turned off the food. Oh, Kim, thank you for saying that. That's the reason. That's my angle on it. People who don't struggle with any obesity issues or insulin issues, it's important to remember. Here's my take on it, at least. Bodies are genetic too. And certain bodies genetically metabolize differently. And some people are going to be like, you're going to be short, you're going to be tall. Like, why can we accept everyone else's difference? But when it comes to weight, we're all supposed to look the same and we have the same standards. Everyone's supposed to be super, super skinny. And me as a girl who grew up athletic, I'll never forget Kevin McGrain said to me in 6th grade when we were kneeling down in gym class, he said, your thighs are bigger than mine. Never forgot it. And it's because I've had muscles my whole life, right? But that carried me a long time. Like, I feel like I'm a lot bigger. It's like, I wasn't overweight. I was just muscular, which is actually a good thing. And genetically, like, some people are different and they carry things different. So that's why I think it's okay. Like when people tell me about it, I say, I don't think you should worry about that at all, because it's the food noise. Now you have the same food noise as all these other skinny people, who don't worry about it as much. That's just my Molly take. Nancy Guthrie, did something happen? I have a call at 1, but I need to find out, did something happen with Nancy Guthrie? Let me go to New York Times. I don't see something yet. I'll look up Marcus Anderson. Okay, I'll add this here. I gotta hop off because I have a call. But is there something with it? Like, did they find her? Wow. Pima, that sheriff. Oh, by the way, when I talk about my crisis doctrine here, the reason why, sheriff, anything that starts with sheriff says Nancy Guthrie's abductor could absolutely strike again. Criminal minds are criminal minds. This guy has got to shut up. You know what? He's going on the list. Chris Nanios. You're right. He's getting attention again. Deconstructing the Kardashians. Yes, that's the book. Thank you for telling me that. Thank you. All right, you guys, I have to log off. I had a great time chatting with all of you. I'm glad that I could roll out my my doctrines with you, give you guys a sense of where the channel's going. I want, because everything we do now or talk about is going to be under these doctrines and pillars. And you guys are all going to be able to identify them yourself. And that's what I want you to do, because I want you to spot it in the world and out in the wild, but then you spot the same things in your life too. All right, you guys. All right. So I got to get on my call, but for those in Minneapolis, stay strong. I totally agree with you. All right. Great seeing you guys again. So come back again next week. We'll see you then. And